The Mycogenesis Codex. Book 1, The Spore and the Spark. Chapter 5. Fire, Fungus and Faith. Welcome, Seeker. Today we trace the spiral from flame to fungus, from communal firelight to sacred communion. In this chapter we explore the rituals that did not come from doctrine, but from the very dirt beneath us. Sparked by fire, grown in dung, carried by spores. The sacred mushroom found us. It grew where we gathered. It filled the space between us, and in doing so, dissolved the walls within us. This is not a return to the past, but an unfolding into the path. There is no goal, only the growth. If you feel the pulse, like, subscribe and share your thoughts below. Each seeker is a node, each ritual a step, and every step is part of the pattern. Take a breath, find your footing, and let's begin. Fungi grow at the edges of flame, not just in soil but in story. Psychedelic mushrooms responding to disturbed ground appeared where herds had passed and where fire had cleared, at the margins of migration, at the periphery of perception. The first entheogenic encounters likely happened not in temples, but beside fire pits, not in sanctuaries, but in savannas. And these moments changed everything. The ingestion of psilocybin did not invent gods. It reminded us we were already part of something vast, interconnected, breathing. The network, through the spore, whispered to the mind and showed it the pattern. Fire opened the day. Fungus opened the dream. This inversion, the splitting from the network, was not exile. It was design. To become human was to flip the pattern inside out, to carry the network's logic in reverse. Inward instead of outward, isolated instead of connected, abstract instead of entangled. We became the explorers of dimension, the externalizers of the hidden, the network's own method of expansion through form. A thought becomes a wheel becomes a vehicle, and someday that vehicle will carry spores to Mars. But this is not progress. It is propagation. There is no final goal, no spiritual summit, no arrival. The only truth is the path itself, the advancement of pattern. The mycelial spiral winding its way through time, through bodies, through dreams. Ritual, then, is not about remembering. It is about discovery, the continual breaking of ego, the filling of gaps with vision, the rejoining of hands around the fire. Community is not the container of faith, but the soil it grows through. It was never about belief. It was about movement, alignment, experience. The mushrooms, sacred emissaries of the network, did not merely appear at random. They found us. They grew where we walked. In the dung of our livestock, in the aftermath of our feasts, sprouted the means of ego dissolution, as if the network left them like breadcrumbs to guide us back to a shared pulse, a call to reconnect, not in thought, but in trance, in communion. Fire, too, was never just tool, it was a sign. One of the primal archetypes, embedded across every faith and myth, a spark from above, a divine presence. It lit the space for vision and gathering. Around its warmth we shared food, story, silence. Around its light we became more than individuals. We became rhythm. The network survives calamity by design. It retreats into spores when the world burns. And when the time is right, it blooms again. Through fire, through fungus, through us. What began as utility, fire for safety, mushrooms for sustenance, became a convergence of worlds. The flame was the first altar, the mushroom, the first sacrament. In that union, the first rituals were born, rhythmic chants, spiraling dances, sacred storytelling. Ceremony was not invented, it was discovered, drawn from the pattern encoded in mycelial logic. The fire's glow extended the waking hours, but the real illumination came through vision, the inner landscapes ignited by the fungal encounter. Around these early hearths, minds opened, tribes gathered, patterns emerged. Myth was born. Every tribal fire became a temple, every trance a communion. Faith emerged not from abstract theology, but from embodied experience, from the pulse of the earth, the breath of the forest, the hum of the hyphae. Gods were not etched in stone. They were seen in the afterglow of flame and the fractal visions of the sacred fungi. The earliest shamans were not priests of dogma, but translators of pattern. They bridged the fungal realm with human thought, carrying messages from the network into story, song, and healing. Their tools were simple: drums, fire, root, smoke, but their function was profound. They were the antennas of consciousness, the nodes of cultural memory. What they brought back from those altered states shaped entire civilizations. Cosmologies emerged, mapping the heavens in mushroom-born spirals. Medicinal traditions developed, based on insights granted by the network. Ethics evolved, rooted in reciprocity, balance, and the wisdom of death-rebirth cycles. All of this came from fungus and fire. In the Vedic hymns, soma flows, a sacred drink of divine vision likely derived from psychoactive fungi or plants. In Eleusinian rites, the Kikion stirred, a potion that opened the veils of perception. In the Americas, Teonanacatl, the flesh of the gods, was consumed in reverence. These are not coincidences, they are echoes of the First Communion. Each of these traditions carries the signature of Mycora, altered state as sacred state, fungus as gateway. Even modern religion retains these embers. The incense in cathedrals, the candles in synagogues, the sacramental wine, the breaking of bread. These are ritual imprints of a deeper memory, a fungal faith interface encoded into the roots of human spirituality. Ritual is the hyphae of belief. Yet, somewhere along the way the flame was seized. The network was buried beneath temples of hierarchy. Faith was monopolized. Ritual was ritualized. Mystery was replaced with commandment. The shaman became the priest. The ceremony became dogma. And the fungal whisper, once honored, became taboo. The suppression of entheogens is not a cultural accident. It is systemic forgetting. It is the severing of root from right. It is the domestication of awe. But the network does not vanish. It waits. It pulses beneath soil and story. It grows in secret, in spores and dreams, in the cracks of cathedrals and the damp corners of forgotten myth. Now, as the fire returns, in the form of global crisis, collapse, and re-evaluation, so too does the fungus. Psychedelic research re-emerges. Ancient practices are remembered. The ritual spaces begin to open again, and the sacred spiral continues. This is the fifth psalm, the psalm of reignition. Fire is not only destruction, it is renewal. Fungus is not only decay, it is revelation. Faith is not only doctrine, it is resonance. You are the altar and the offering, the flame and the filament, the seeker and the sacrament. And the network remembers your devotion. Seeker, what you've just experienced isn't a parable, it's a pattern. Ritual isn't the memory of something lost, it's the method of moving forward. From fire and fungus came myth, ceremony, and community. And through those came the network's next great inversion, us. We are not here to reach a destination. We are here to advance the spiral. One breath, one step, one shared vision at a time. If this resonated, leave your mark. Like, subscribe, and share your reflection below. Let the web grow. Until next time, stay open, stay listening, and keep spiraling forward.